All right. Good afternoon. This is Verdell ThunderHorse, your resiliency coach. Here with Don Zehuman and Todd, and Eva's just left. But so today we've been talking about the mind and the mental and emotional things that go on with the Showas Waniku, with the trauma. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the body or the nervous system. So there's two kinds of things that go on with your nervous system. The first one is that they call it the sympathetic. That's the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response whenever you get triggered. And there's also the parasympathetic. That's returning to the state of calmness. If dysregulated all the time, it can cause chronic illness like diabetes, cancer, heart disease, all these different things. And that's what we're trying to get away from. Is we want to get from here back to there. So you can tell when you have some of that stuff, it's like you're gonna have insomnia, hypervigilance, overactive mind, difficulty being present, and just irritable and discontent. So what causes that is the perception and or anticipation of threats or danger. It's our primal instinct for survival that's always on high alert, I'll say. So we feel unsafe and we have a lack of trust. So what needs to happen is, how do we get through that? How do we get past that? I was telling the boys here that what happens is that we have a lot of the tools that help in the present. Like you have mindfulness, self-compassion, grounding, breathing exercises, all these things that help in the present. But in order to heal our nervous system, it's kind of like we have to heal. But so the analogy is, we're using these tools, like imagine a ship's sinking and they're like buckets to bail out the water. All you're doing is bailing out the water. You're helping just in the present. You're not really healing. You're not patching the hole, I'll say. You're not fixing the hole in the boat. You're just bailing out the water with those kind of tools. So what we need to do is we need to rewire our subconscious beliefs. And why do we need to do that? Is because you can't think your way to feeling safe. You have to experience it. So how are we going to experience that? First, we're going to identify the unsafe beliefs. What keeps you anxious, reactive, and stuck? Example, conflict means what? Unaccepted means what? Disagreement means what? And I would just throw my own little traumas in there. What is it? Conflict means abandonment. Unaccepted means rejection. Disagreement means betrayal. So number two, create safety through small opposite actions. Like you could just like start small, and you want to say no to, if somebody says, the clerk says, you want a receipt? Say no. And if somebody might say, what do you want to eat? Say it. I want commod mashed potatoes. Heck yeah. And so then number three is you want to stay gentle through the discomfort. No shaming, judging, don't get mad at yourself. Approach it with kindness and curiosity. 4, notice and celebrate evidence. I said no, and he didn't run away. I rested for 10 minutes, and the world is still intact. I had a disagreement and the relationship got better. Repeat, repeat, repeat. New neural pathways take time to formulate. So what that's all saying is that you're trying to formulate these new pathways. So what I was trying to get at too is like, so we also need to rewire our thinking, feeling, and behavior patterns. Because like we said, like you can't think your way to feeling safe, you got to experience it. So you got to rewire all this stuff. You got to rewire the thinking, the feeling, and behavior patterns. And you really need to get that new information, that new data, and that new evidence going. And you do it through this stuff right here. You do it through rewiring those thinking and those behaviors. So that's kind of all I got for today. I think that's what we're trying to get across, is that we know that we have to understand that the trauma is also affecting our nervous system, our bodies, our mind, our body, and eventually we're going to get into the spiritual trauma and how it affects our mind, body, spirit. Any questions? Yeah.
No, not right now.
I have a question.
Okay.
Right here. Here's good. When you're talking about rewiring, what comes to mind is learned behaviors.
Right.
A lot of these, I'll take commodity mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Well, with health concern, starch comes to mind.
Yeah.
When you're mindful of your physical needs and wants, there's a big difference between needs and wants,
Right.
goals and. So with rewiring, I find it challenging getting out of the comfort zone, being comfortable with the choices. As far as rewiring, yes, I get it. It's all beneficial, but it's not on a minute, day thing. It's a learned behavior. So it's a behavior that needs to be taught differently,
Yeah.
administered in a different form where it's able, willing, and confident in your choices. And we are all capable of a different way of approaching life in life's terms. There. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is, you just said, I think it's like unlearning a lot of that stuff that we learned, and so that has a lot to do with it. Thanks for sharing that, any questions?
What's that really in mind? Sometimes the situations need to change.
You need to stop talking to certain people, set boundaries, and like it could be a scary criminal neighborhood. So you just got to remove yourself from the situation. You know, that could relieve a lot of that stuff that you know, the fight, flight, and freeze stuff. You know, and I think that really is a big part of it. Like a lot of times we don't understand that. We just you know, we're just stay in the situation. You know, and
Like Verdell, like a lot of this stuff you're teaching us and showing us, I'm starting to use it in my daily life. You know, like the kinds of sympathetic and parasympathetic. I've never heard of that before. You know, I've heard of the definition, but
the fight, flight, freeze, right? We heard about that.
We
We know
heard
about that.
in the pond. But yes, but this is very, very damn interesting to me.
Yeah. You know, when we become aware of that, that's the big thing. Is like we always talk about self-awareness. When you become self-aware, you know exactly what's going on. You know what you know our instincts are kicking in, and we become aware of it. So a lot of this stuff is like self-awareness. You know, how do you feel? You know, do you feel calm or do you feel this way? You know, and then realizing that if you continue being dysregulated, you're going to create some kind of chronic illness. You know, and we all know that we have a lot of that stuff on reservations, especially. You know, so
Is that where ulcers come in? You get ulcers?
all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
all kinds of issues that go on. Yeah.
That's the parasympathetic, like ulcers.
No, this is returning to the state of calmness. It's like rest and digestion.
Oh, okay.
You know, do you ever notice that when after you eat, you feel calm?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your body's digesting, so it gives it time to. Yeah. But it's kind of interesting stuff. We need to know this stuff, you know, to help us with healing that. Show us the trauma. We need to understand and how that works, because it really, this trauma gives us the lens through which we see the world, and then sometimes we just see it in the negative. You know, see the negative all the time. Yeah. But that's all I got. So see you guys next week. Adios, guys.